Hey gamers! Welcome to Player 2. My name is John. And now it's time to grab your controllers and get ready for a spine-chilling adventure because the Resident Evil 4 Remake is finally here. And let me tell you, it's like a breath of fresh air into a beloved classic. Capcom has hit the nail on the head once again. Resident Evil 4 was already one of the greatest games in the entire franchise, and this remake has only made it better. Leon Kennedy is back, and this time he's on a mission to rescue the president's daughter from a sinister cult infected by a horrifying parasite. And it's scarier and more violent than ever before. The prologue alone will have you quaking in your boots. But don't worry, longtime fans. The spirit of the original game is still very much alive in the remake. And for newcomers, this is the perfect opportunity to experience one of the greatest games of all time with a modern twist. With improved enemy behavior, refined combat mechanics, and a sneak mechanic that adds a whole new level of stealth, this game has its own identity and is definitely not just a fancy reskin of the original. Get ready to dive into the world of Resident Evil 4 like never before. And who knows, maybe this remake will be just the beginning of a new wave of reimagined classic titles for modern audiences. So stay tuned to this video. Let's go! Considered as one of the most outstanding titles in the Resident Evil franchise, Resident Evil 4 from 2005 combined the trademark survival horror elements with gameplay that focused more on action. Close to 2 decades after its release, Capcom has revealed a modern console top-down version of Resident Evil 4, inspired by the achievements of the Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 remakes. Staying true to the original game's essential aspects and ambience, the Resident Evil 4 remake revives the iconic survival horror game while possessing sufficient distinctiveness to validate its creation. Respecting the storyline of the original game, Resident Evil 4 unfolds 6 years following the occurrences of Resident Evil 2, where Leon Kennedy is now employed by the President of the United States. When the President's daughter, Ashley Graham, is abducted by a malevolent cult in an unnamed European nation, Leon is tasked to save her. However, he soon uncovers that the cult is contaminated by a terrifying parasite, and his mission becomes more challenging. As Leon's mission progresses, he realizes that freeing Ashley from her captors is only the initial step in a greater, more ominous undertaking. As indicated by the game's promotional materials and the latest demo, the Resident Evil 4 remake is noticeably more frightening and gruesome than its predecessor. This is evident from the game's opening sequence, where players are reintroduced to the village fight scene from the original Resident Evil 4. In a more conceptual sense, this intense moment highlights the core essence of the Resident Evil 4 remake, which features the same framework as the classic game, but introduces improved enemy AI and minor tweaks to keep even the most seasoned players of the original game on edge. This doesn't imply that there are no significant deviations from the original Resident Evil 4. In fact, the differences become increasingly apparent as the remake advances. However, these alterations do not deviate from the fundamental essence of the original game, but instead improve and elevate specific segments, whether it is by altering how Leon and Ashley collaborate or modifying combat mechanics. When compared side by side with the original Resident Evil 4, the remake possesses its unique identity rather than being a fancier version of the same game sold at a higher price for the next generation of consoles. In terms of gameplay, the Resident Evil 4 remake bears a closer resemblance to the 2019 Resident Evil 2 remake than the Resident Evil 3 remake, specifically by excluding the dodge mechanic introduced in the latter title. While most of the weaponry and inventory system remains consistent with the original Resident Evil 4, it comes with a few modern alterations, such as a durability and parry system for Leon's knives. Additionally, Leon's movements are more fluid compared to other Resident Evil remakes, featuring more opportunities for environmental interaction, reintroduction of melee combat on wounded enemies, and a stealth mechanism that was absent from the original game. Given that Resident Evil 4 is widely regarded as one of the best games of all time, it's understandable that expectations were high for its remake. Fortunately, the Resident Evil 4 remake not only lives up to these expectations, but also retains much of what made the original game exceptional while incorporating the same elements as the more recent entries in the franchise. It's a delight for both longtime fans and newcomers, and along with this year's Dead Space remake, it proves that reimagining classic titles for modern audiences is a worthwhile endeavor. Well folks, the Resident Evil 4 remake is finally here, and it's a game changer. Capcom has done an amazing job of reimagining this survival horror classic and giving it a new lease of life. The game is scarier and more violent than the original, but still faithful to the broad strokes and spirit of the original game. The gameplay has been refined and enhanced, with changes to how Leon and Ashley work together in combat mechanics, while still staying true to the game's roots. As one of the most celebrated games of all time, Resident Evil 4 had a lot to live up to, but it has exceeded expectations. Whether you're a longtime fan or a newcomer to the franchise, you're going to love this game. It's a perfect example of how classic titles can be reimagined for modern audiences. So what are you waiting for? Give the game a try and let us know what you think in the comments below. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more great content like this. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.